I want to talk to you today about quality of life. Not just long life, but quality of life. Have you ever heard the television commercials where somebody says, if you take this medicine or that medicine, it will help you to live longer? And I never took that seriously, but I mentioned this in my sermon last week, that a year ago, January, I had a brother, Steve, who received a sentence of death. He received a diagnosis that was terminal. He had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctor was sitting in a room across from a desk from me and Steve, and he said, "You have 6 to 8 months left to live." And then he repeated it, "You have 6 or 8 months left to live." And Steve responded to the doctor just like the people on television. It was almost like a movie. Steve said, "Well, tell me about the treatment protocols. What are the options? And if I take any one of these options, can I live longer? How long can I live?" And I said to myself, I'm just sitting there, I said, my God, this is like a television commercial. You know, will this enable me to live longer? And that's what I want to preach about today. But I'm going to preach about it from another angle, which is not just if I do something, can I live longer? But if I do something, will it enable me to live not only longer, but better? That's really what I'm preaching about. And my text is from Mark, the 8th chapter, where Jesus is making his way with the disciples through a city in the north, in today's world, the Golan Heights, called Bethsaida. And there at Bethsaida, actually in the Bible, a number of things happen in Bethsaida. But it's not far from the Galilee where Jesus was from. And so I can imagine he and his buddies just walked there. But Jesus is in Bethsaida, and while he's there, some men come to him and they say, "Heal our friend. Our friend is blind, and we want you to give him his sight back." And Jesus does an interesting thing. He takes the man away from the friends, and Jesus begins to walk almost toward out of town. And as he begins to walk toward out of town with the man, holding him by hand, he leaves the friends behind. He leaves all the onlookers behind. And this man walk toward the city limits. And when they get out there, the Bible tells us that Jesus spits in his hand. And then he puts the hands on the eyes of the man who is blind. And he holds his hands on the blind man's eyes for a little while, and then he takes the hands off. And when he takes the hands off, the Bible says Jesus looked at the man intently. He looked at the man intently, and he said, "What do you see?" And the man said, "I see people, but they look like trees." And so Jesus spits in his hands again. He puts his hands again on the eyes of this blind man. He holds his hands for a little while on the man's eyes. And then Jesus says to the man, he takes the hands off, he says, "What do you see now?" The man said, "I can see. I can see." And so Jesus tells the man, he says, "Go back to your home, but do not go back through the town center. Don't go back through the people who brought you here, but go back to your own house." And that's how this text ends.